Now, how these things mount up here. You got one 5.5 screw holding it in here, one 5.5 here on this slot, which allows you to help centralize a little bit more. This slot here is actually for a locating post, which is attached to this upper body up here that helps you localize it into place to be able to line up your bolt holes and hold it in. Now your arm goes into here and locks in down here. Now what's important to know is that these are clocked in right here at 12 o'clock. Now yours may not be sitting at 12 o'clock when you take it off. So you'll have to try to get this to clock in to where that one is clocked in, and then you start doing your calibration procedure once you get everything bolted back up. But first, let's get this one off. So you see way over here, basically right here by where this red thing is, right before it is a little depression tongue, essentially. You just push that in, and then you just gently pull it out, and that's it. That's all that you have to do to get it out. Just make sure you don't break your wires here when you're putting your thumb in there, and don't use any harsh tools, just your fingers, and it'll work just fine. Now we need to take off our little 5.5s. As I mentioned before, there's one way deep in here and one right up there. Now for here, you can use a shallower socket to be able to have room to get your ratchet up in there. So let's do that next. Okay, and got her. Same thing with this guy. You don't want to over torque it, and you don't want to work it too hard, because again, it's just a steel screw with this very, very coarse wide thread here that's basically cutting its own threading into a plastic stud, and that could crack very easily. So you don't want to force the stuff too much at all. Go very, very gentle. Now this outer one here is going to be easier. I always try to take off the harder ones usually first, then work with the outer ones, because that way the outer one can hold it in place for me while I can get to the harder one and get that taken care of. At least this one I can visualize. There we go. And there you go. Now this guy should kind of slip right off of there. Okay. There you go. And that's the old blend door right there. So now that is clearly not clocked at 12. So we're going to have to make adjustments to this one here to get it to clock in the same position. So this way this can slide back in onto the actuator arm, and then we can get everything bolted up. These are just cheap plastic, including the gear systems in here, and you don't want to force this to try to clock it into the same position that this one was clocked into. But there's something to know. Reach over here and find that shaft of your blend door. It's basically just free moving now at this point. So you can actually align it exactly where you need it to be be able to fit your new one on. So adjust your blend door and not this driver here, because you will ruin it. You'll crack it and ruin it, and you have to go and buy another $150 part.